Alright, ready?
Yep.
Okay. Let's do this thing. Yeah. Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Indeed. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Drinking some Jameson, both of us.
Kiss us, we're...
You watch us on YouTube, you can see it.
You can drink with us, folks. This is episode 6 of Ape Shit, an atheistic view of anything. As always, I am.com.
I am B-Daddy.
We have some fun stuff to talk about. First, let's get into the UFC 158 results. Great night of fights, wouldn't you say?
Definitely. I thought they were very entertaining.
Yeah. Let's get to the main card results here. Mike Ricci defeated Colin Fletcher via unanimous decision. It's a pretty entertaining fight.
Mm-hmm.
Chris Cabozi beat Nick Ring by split decision. Another pretty good fight. That was pretty much back and forth the whole time.
Yeah.
Jake Ellenberger knocked out Nate Marquardt in the first round. I did not see that coming. Both guys they're bangers. Definitely always go after it, but that was a good fucking knockout.
Definitely, for sure. Sorry, I drank during most of this, and we talked a lot. His dad was over last night, and we all had some good conversations.
Yeah.
But we watched the fights. I know who won. Alright.
Can't remember, like, the fine details are a bit hazy still. Johnny Hendricks beat Carlos Condit via unanimous decision. That was a fucking...
I do remember watching that. Like,
yeah, Hendricks, of course, he was able to take Condit down throughout the fight, but Condit was getting back up to his feet like nothing had happened. There were a few times Hendricks, he held him down to the ground for a little bit, but, I mean, great back and forth
fight. The better wrestler.
Yeah, and that means, of course, that Johnny Hendricks is going to fight George St. Pierre for the welterweight championship, and that's going to be a very interesting fight.
Should be, yeah. Because if anybody has a good chance of doing that, it's beating George, it should be Johnny Hendricks with a good wrestling background.
Yeah.
He's got some power.
He brings a lot of stuff to the table.
And he won't talk shit.
Stylistically, yes, he doesn't talk shit. Definitely a pretty humble guy. And speaking of talking shit, George St. Pierre defeats Nick Diaz, unanimous decision. That was just so awesome to see Nick Diaz get his ass whooped for 5 rounds, and that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, of all the fights of last night, I definitely paid attention to this one, even through my intoxication.
Yeah.
But I thought I would be disappointed to see George win like he typically does, the way he did last night. I thought, no, I don't want him to win through a boring fight.
Right.
Because for some reason sometimes that
can
be boring.
Happen, yeah.
But I was very entertained by him just taking down Nick
smashing
Diaz
Diaz's face into the mat the whole fucking fight.
Even standing up with him.
Standing up, yeah, he stood blow for blow. George St. Pierre's jabs they're really effective, and he gets them off very fast, and it's very hard to defend against them. And true to his form, he did the same thing with Nick Diaz. And a lot of people were saying that he would have trouble standing with Nick Diaz. And I mean, there was a point, I think it was the third, fourth round, that Diaz actually started to throw some hands, and they were starting to connect, and they bloodied GSP up a little bit. But I mean, he stood there and he beat Nick Diaz at his own game. I mean, really all over. He beat Nick Diaz all over the octagon, and it was just so awesome to watch. But Nick Diaz, this piece of fucking shit. I think it was 3 times he did this, but after the bell, he swung for GSP, and he actually connected with one of them.
Fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, and this isn't like, it's not like, oh shit, I didn't hear the bell, I'm sorry, or like I got it off a little bit late. He meant to fucking do this, and one time he did connect, but for some reason, Yves Levine is the worst referee.
And he had a fuck up.
Yeah, Darren Elkins versus Antonio Carvalho. I mean, that like, I think it was a shitty stoppage.
And I thought it was weird that Dana White defended him so much.
He really didn't defend him. He was like, he understood him running and like stopping it, but he's like, yeah, I think it was a short or an early stoppage. But
you need at least 3 seconds to make sure the guy's gonna fall down and stay. Stay down,
but I mean,
for
Elkins landed a right hand. He like kind of stood back, staggered, and then Elkins came back with it and he fucking connected again. Carvalho dropped and immediately came back up, and by that point the fight was already stopped.
Who was that fight that we saw where guy was basically on all fours after he got hit and just right there on the fucking that sweet spot back there just knocked him out? I forget who that was.
Last night?
Yeah.
Oh, I think that was.
I think it was preliminary.
I think it was Marquardt versus Ellison. Yeah. I'm pretty sure that's what it was.
Okay.
But
I remember that too.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, back to the Nick Diaz thing. There's no fucking excuse. He should have gotten a point taken away, but because Yves Levine's horrible at his fucking job, there were no points taken away. It's not like had
Herb?
Yeah, I know. His passport must have been fucked or something. He was back in Jamaica with his family. But I mean, just then. We just watched the post-fight press conference, and
it's a must-see.
Yes, it is. You think he's gonna be Nick Diaz? I mean, especially after what he said after the fight, that he's done with it. He's not gonna retire. They opened up the press conference, and Dana White said, he's like, no, he said he's not gonna be here. He said he's done, and he left.
He wasn't even expecting to be there because.
And then this ass bag shows up.
He said in the ring that he's done.
Yeah.
Like, he's done and done. Like,
yeah.
What the fuck?
He showed up. This guy is not the poster boy for marijuana. If you're trying to get marijuana legalized, don't say that Nick Diaz does it because he's so fucking retarded. Like, the shit he says doesn't make anything, like, it doesn't make any sense.
I bet maybe he should be. I think he should be high all the time. I bet when he's high, he talks less shit.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure he probably does, but yeah, at the press conference, he's still like he's talking about how I don't want to make a million excuses, and then he starts making excuses.
He makes those excuses.
Yes, he does.
It's pathetic.
He was blaming his teammates, but he wasn't. But he was. He's like, I couldn't train with those guys. Like, they couldn't spar with me, so I couldn't get ready, and. He blamed the time difference.
Right. He blamed everything and anything.
Except for him.
Except for himself. And this is one of the reasons why I like libertarianism so much, and one of the reasons why I like atheism so much. It's because it takes... You can't blame anybody else except yourself.
Yeah. If you fucked up, you fucked up.
And this guy, he is just looking for anybody to blame something on.
Yeah.
And then immediately says... Hey, I think I can beat you.
Yeah, he looks over to George St. Pierre at the table. He's like, I think if we fight again, I think I can beat you, man. I think I can beat you.
With another outrageous claim of, I think I can beat Anderson Silva.
Yeah, and that is laughable. I would love to see that fight. I'd love to see GSP stomp his ass again. But yeah, he's sitting next to Johnny Hendricks, who's sitting next to George St. Pierre. Hendricks and St. Pierre are gonna fight next. And fucking Diaz looks at Hendricks and GSP. He's like, I don't know why you guys are sitting so close together. You're gonna fight. Do you not know that?
It was childish. Like,
yeah.
They're not. They can sit next to each other because they're adults.
Yeah. This is a job that they do. They're professionals.
They're not fighting because they hate each other.
Yeah. I mean, just we could go on and on talking about how dumb Nick Diaz is, but. Honestly, we have more stuff to talk about, so let's just leave it at that.
We're not Nick Diaz, and we won't say one thing and then keep doing it.
Yeah. So, but Great Night of Fights. If you didn't watch it, I'm sure you can find them on YouTube or something like later on down the road. But
yeah, and if you guys know people who don't watch UFC, and even though it's been on for years and it's like awesome, you need to introduce them to it.
Yeah, and introduce them to I don't know. I heard this awesome show, this like Ape Shit, something like that. I couldn't remember the actual name, but it was Ape Shit something. But
because if you don't introduce them to that Ape Shit atheist podcast,
I think that's what they call it.
They're gonna be missing out on that.
Yeah, but tell them it's free too.
Totally free.
Give them something to do. But all right, St. Patrick's Day. I believe you have some information on old St. Patrick.
Yeah, we'll take a little history. Give a little history lesson on St. Patrick and who he was and what he did. Basically, his name wasn't really Patrick. He probably got that name as a title. I think it was like Patricus or something Latin. And he got that from basically either in recognition of his leadership status among the Irish Christians or a nod to his birth into a well-to-do landed family, which is kind of odd because he wasn't even from Ireland. He was actually from Britain. He was taken slave at 15. Was kidnapped from the shore of his native Britain. Where exactly I don't know. Was taken into captivity by Irish raiders. Wound up as a slave. Separated, isolated from his family. Worked as a herder. Then he was Christian born. He lived in the 5th century. So a long ass time ago.
Yeah, that's quite some time ago.
And very early on in the Christian religion. Even though it was 500 years afterwards, but still, that's 500 years into shit when you think about time. But, the bullshit of the story I got right here, it says, he was miraculously led by a mysterious voice, which he attributed to an angel. He escaped captivity after several years, and made his way back to his homeland. So he went back to Britain. He was never reunited with his family, probably, and became a priest, then became a bishop. Again, he heard voices, so the man was obviously crazy.
Yes.
Calling him back to Ireland, which became his dream. Somehow he managed to assign his dream job, or he became assigned to his dream job, a missionary in Ireland, because there were still pagans in Ireland.
Yeah.
But he didn't convert, he didn't bring Christianity to Ireland. There were already Christian sects in Ireland. So, and he didn't drive snakes from Ireland, which is the other tall tale. There were already no snakes in Ireland well before he was ever there.
Yeah.
And he, let me see here. Well, first, it says in this article on the Huffington Post by Greg Tobin, who he is not the benign figure wearing a green bishop's mitre, holding a shamrock, casting the snakes from the shores of his homeland, Emerald Isle, even as he brought the saving message of Christianity. What they go on to say is, obviously he didn't drive the snakes, like I said. The shamrock thing probably came later, because they said he used the shamrock to point out the Trinity with the 3 leaves, which is kind of ridiculous, because isn't it the 4-leaf that's lucky?
Yeah.
So, whatever. And he didn't wear a funny hat, or whatever the fuck a mitre is, and I'm guessing that's what a mitre is, the funny hats.
I assume, I have no idea.
Like because Catholics look goofy as shit.
Yes, they do.
But yeah, that's the little bit of history of St. Patrick, and so we all get drunk on St. Patrick's Day.
That I just hearing that, I want to drink a lot more because I'm so riveted by this man and his amazing contributions to the world.
And he didn't really seem to do anything that great. I know he intervened with some warlords or whatever that were attacking, killing Christians. But I mean, any decent human being really would have been against the killing of anybody on the basis of their religion, because it was pagans killing Christians. But
so he
once
wasn't
again,
a leprechaun?
No.
Oh.
I don't even think it mentions leprechauns, which is weird because.
Oh. What the fuck?
I'm pretty sure that leprechauns are the coolest thing about Ireland.
Well, and Jameson whiskey.
Oh, yeah. They probably created Jameson.
Well, St. Patrick sounds like an interesting motherfucker. Yeah. One thing we did want to talk about. I don't know if you guys have seen this or heard anything about this, but you know when they made, I think it was a Bic pen strictly for women. There was a Honda that was made strictly for women. It was like pink or fuchsia or some shit like that. Now, a Middle Eastern company, they're named Eurostar, based in the Middle East. They came out with an ePad. Well, it's called ePad Femme, and what it is, it's a tablet like an iPad or anything like that, strictly for women. Now, this is fucking hilarious. It comes with preloaded applications that are relevant to what the lady folk like. Yoga, actually, I believe it comes with 2 yoga apps, a pregnancy app, a shopping app, and a tape measure app. For some reason, and it comes with a lovely pink background and nice big buttons for women and their learning disabilities. I'm all for sexist jokes and all that stuff, but I mean, is this for real? Like, I mean, it came from the Middle East, so yeah, obviously it's real. Like, I mean,
I'm surprised they're allowed to use it.
Yeah, I saw this and I shared it with V-Daddy immediately because I thought it was something that we could mention. It's fucking hilarious.
It is funny. I'm looking at a picture of a screenshot or whatever the fuck it is, but it actually has an Our Groceries, app. That's pretty funny.
Oh man, that's awesome. It includes a women's assistant as well.
Yep.
But it talks about
and it's got the picture of the women's assistant app has, it looks like a scale with a tape measure around it. I guess it's assisting them
diet tips and stuff.
Not be fat and
yeah, but the women's assistant comes with useful advice that involves cures for cysts. Is that cysts? Yeah. Or the legal definition of sexual assault, and it's also full of weight loss tips. And
legal definition of sexual assault? Why?
I don't know. Maybe if they're looking at it and like some guy's hitting on a bar,
legal definition?
They can look through it and like, is he? No. Well, technically, he's not sexually assaulting me, but I know what it is on here thanks to this ePad Femme, and when he does it, I will alert the authorities promptly. I thought this was hilarious. Just something that brought a smile to my face. Look for it. Buy it for a woman, because a regular iPad is just too complicated. But going from that, this is something that actually my dad shared with me. Horrible news. But it appears that atheists are banned from holding or running for public office in 7 states, and those states are Arkansas, Maryland, Mississippi, North Carolina, South Carolina, Tennessee, and Texas.
All of them southern states except for Maryland.
Yeah, but it talks about the constitutions here. I'm trying to paraphrase from what I'm reading right now, but it talks about at first this article talks about the war on Christmas, which is a bunch of bullshit. There's no fucking war on Christmas. We're not trying to run in and steal your Christmas trees and your eggnog.
And we're both atheists, and I will tell you, we had Christmas decorations up at Christmas.
Yeah,
and we gladly accept the
presents.
The presents, because let's face it, all these holidays are just basically pagan, our pagan roots.
Yeah,
going over to Christianity.
And I mean, like, my family's not atheist, but we celebrated Christmas. That's what I grew up with. I mean, I don't believe the story behind Christmas because it's all a bunch of bullshit.
Well, yeah, even Bible people who actually know the Bible and actually believe the Bible, they even say, Jesus wasn't born in December.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just
like June or some shit like that.
Bunch of bullshit. But
if he was ever real.
Yeah, but they talk about these states. In Arkansas, atheists are also not allowed to fulfill their civic duties as court witnesses because they're atheists.
So if you're an atheist and you witness a murder,
they won't take your testimony. They won't take what you say because you're an atheist. They don't believe you because you're a sinner. Tennessee denies. Hold on. In Tennessee, if you deny the existence of heaven and hell, you can also be disqualified from any government job. So that's pretty shitty. But let's talk about Arkansas. This is the state. God damn it! What am I trying to say here?
That shit in Tennessee, even if you are say you're like Buddhist or whatever, and I don't think they really believe in a heaven or hell.
Yeah.
I don't think so. Yeah, like reincarnation or whatever. So like you can believe in a God, but even if you don't believe in a heaven or a hell, you can't fucking be that. Like
that's just asinine. It's the type of backwards thinking that drove me further and further into atheism. But in Arkansas, now this is of, I believe, the state's separate legislations. But in Arkansas it says, "No person that denies the being of God shall hold any office in the civil departments of this state, nor be competent to testify as a witness in any court."
Article 19, Section 1.
Because
Arkansas
that makes
Constitution.
a lot of sense. In Maryland, Article 37, that no religious test ought ever to be required as a qualification for any office of profit or trust in this state, other than a declaration of belief in the existence of God, nor shall the legislator prescribe any other oath of office than the oath prescribed by this Constitution.
And honestly, all of these laws would never hold up in actual court. Like, even if they get challenged in the state, and the state upholds the law, like keeps the law in place, you obviously have to go to a federal court, which will be somewhere in the state. Indiana has about, I think, 3, one in Fort Wayne.
I think something like that.
South Bend, I think, in Indianapolis. But you go to a federal court, and then obviously that judge would have to find these laws illegitimate.
Yeah.
Because there is a whole amendment not amendment, but, well, yeah, I guess it is an amendment, separation of church and state. So, freedom of religion, or from religion. So that totally violates that. And the reason I say that is because that's why flag burning laws, like Indiana has a flag burning law.
Yeah.
You can't be arrested legitimately for flag burning because it's a freedom of speech issue. It's all bullshit, and it's funny how these backward ass states are just still trying to keep something like that in.
Mississippi's said in Article 14, Section 245, it says, "No person who denies the existence of a supreme being shall hold any office in this state." North Carolina, Article 6, Section 8, the following persons shall be disqualified from office. First, any person who shall deny the being of Almighty God. Yeah. South Carolina, Article 17, Section 4, no person who denies the existence of a supreme being shall hold any office under this Constitution. Tennessee, Article 9, Section 2, no person who denies the being of God or a future state of rewards and punishment shall hold any or a future state of rewards and punishment, meaning heaven or hell, shall hold. I like how they worded that.
Yeah.
Shall hold any office in the civil department of this state.
I don't believe in a reward system.
That was a fucking doozy. That was a
like
doozy. That was beautiful. Got your Heaven Perks card? Texas.
Can I use yours?
I'm not too comfortable about that. I don't know. Texas, and we all know how Texas is when it comes to the Almighty God. Article 1, Section 4, no religious test shall ever be required as a qualification to any office or public trust in this state, nor shall anyone be excluded from holding office on account of his religious sentiments, provided he acknowledges the existence of a supreme being. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, exactly. Now, here's an article. Here's what Article 5 of the United States Constitution, the No Religious Test Clause, has to say about all of this shit. No religious test shall ever be required as a qualification to any office or public trust under the United States.
Yeah, and that's what I was talking about earlier. I'm glad that was in here.
Yeah,
I actually remember you saying that last night when we were talking about this.
Yeah, but now this guy, Cecil Bothwell, it's a hell of a name. He was elected to Asheville City Council in 2009. This is in North Carolina, but as that city is a progressive city. Well, anyway, Mr. Bothwell is an atheist, and irate Christians attempted to make sure he didn't take office to try to get him out of the running for it. And this is a quote. It says, "I'm not saying that Cecil Bothwell is not a good man, but if he's an atheist, he's not eligible to serve in public office, according to the state constitution." And that was said by former Asheville NAACP president H.K. Edgerton told the Asheville Citizen-Times, which is probably a newspaper or something. But, I mean, like, how fucking 7 states.
I like the next line though. It says, "Apparently civil rights are just fine for North Carolina's long oppressed black citizens," which is what the NAACP is, "but not for its equally scorned atheists."
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I guess there's only 7, but I mean, still 7 states to still be like
this. The thing is, like,
it's fucking bananas.
A lot of people like bash on other nations for, especially Middle East nations, for their ridiculous how they let religion into their government, like Iran. But then we have these states that would prefer that, and how is that any better? aren't we supposed to be the secular nation? And let's face it, atheists are the most hated group in America. I've seen the polls or whatever of different, like, and I've experienced it myself. I've had girlfriends whose parents didn't even want to meet me because I was an atheist. I mean, it's pretty horrible.
It's ludicrous. Now here's the article I'm reading all this stuff from. It was an opinion article written by an independent writer, and it was written in thedigitaljournal.com. So, I mean, we can put this on the Facebook page so you guys can kind of read it and get a better view for what we've been talking about. But I'm gonna quote a paragraph here. It says, "There is no war on Christmas. Efforts to curb displays of oversightly religious symbols and imagery are not attacks on Christians or the ability to worship as they please, but merely attempts to comply with the fundamental American principle of separation of church and state. Banning atheists and even people who deny the existence of heaven and hell from holding public office, on the other hand, is a blatantly unconstitutional and admittedly unforeseeable exercise of hostile discrimination. The real war is not being waged on Christians, but rather on atheists and other free thinkers." This is another little excerpt after that paragraph. It says, "As I leave you and wish you a happy holidays, and if you're Christian, then a Merry Christmas. Consider this: Americans surveyed in a recent Gallup poll about the 2012 election were asked, quote, if your party nominated a generally well-qualified person for the president who happened to be," and there's a blank there, "who would you vote for that person? Thank you," end quote. Here's what they answered: black, 96%; women, 95%; Catholic, 94%; Hispanic, 92%; Jewish, 91%; Mormon, 80%; gay or lesbian, 68%; Muslim, 58%. What? We scored lower than Muslim?
Yeah.
Atheist, 54%. War on Christmas, my unelectable ass.
I mean, at least it's over half.
We fucking scored lower than Muslims in America.
Well, Islam is the religion of peace.com. So
they're all religions of peace, and that peace is shit. I like what I did there. That's pretty good. It's, like I said, we're going to put this on our Facebook page, so if you guys want to read through it, I'm sure you'll understand it more from reading it than to listening to my stuttering ass, but
I totally agree, and
with my stuttering ass.
No, with what that article was saying at the very end there about there is no war on Christmas, because basically what most counties do, like, they want to set up a display scene of the birth of Christ, on public property. You're giving preference to a certain religion.
Yeah, and
then I hear politicians say, no, if Jewish people want to set up a menorah, or Kwanzaa, which isn't even a real religion, but it's just, or whatever else. That's bullshit, because that's not going to happen. Let's put up some fucking Muslim shit on public property and see what happens. You're always going to have a group who's left out. Witchcraft, Wiccans, like, you're going to have a Wiccan thing up there too. You're going to have the obscure religion of an Amazon tribe that hasn't been discovered yet. I mean, what? So you can't include everybody, so you have to exclude everybody from government influence.
Yeah, and when my dad was talking to me about it, we actually talked about it a little bit last night with him too. But he was saying, he was talking to one of a guy that he works with, and he was like, isn't that the same thing as saying like a black person couldn't run for office because he's black. I'm like, yeah, that's pretty much. I mean, it's discrimination. Like, it's not racial discrimination, but it's still discrimination at its very core. I mean, it's still wrong. Like, it's just like it's shitty. It's very shitty, and I do appreciate. Dad, if you're listening, you're probably not listening now because obviously
you were supposed to be here, Ray.
Yeah.
Shame.
We were gonna have him on the show, but he had Superman duties to do. Superhero duties to do. I guess that's what V Daddy was saying. But
he's out saving the world right now.
Yeah, but I mean, thank you very much for bringing this to my attention, and I'm glad we got to talk about it. But
oh yeah, and coming over and playing,
jamming
out with us last night.
Yeah, hanging out with us, jamming out, playing the drums, really good on drums. But thank you for being a friend. But yeah, I mean, it's all shitty. Of course it is. We're atheists. We are the redheaded stepchildren of the world. But what are you gonna do, right?
That's why we're gonna get the fuck out of here.
That's why you need to listen to Ape Shit.
Listen to us. You can find us on iTunes. You can look us up on Facebook at Ape Shit Podcast. Ape Shit, an atheistic view of anything, would probably be the best way to find us on Facebook.
Yeah, you'll see
Twitter
pictures
at Ape Shit Podcast. And email us at apeshitpodcast@gmail.com. And oh yeah, say hi to Hitchens the monkey.
He is our friend, and he's also an ape.